Welcome to Questions and Conversations on Leadership and Life. We are diving today into something that influences every decision we make, often without us even realizing it. It's called the belief window. And how do our unconscious beliefs shape our reality? How can we shift them to create more alignment in our lives? Let's explore this topic.
So I don't really want to talk about habits, but I want to talk about a concept of our beliefs, our belief window. And I first heard about the belief window from a gentleman named Hiram Smith, the founder of Franklin Planner back in the early 80s, in his training video called Gaining Control. But our belief window sits right here. It's this window that sits 6 inches in front of our face, and everything that comes through that window gets filtered based on the beliefs we've put on that window.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is an important awareness, because that what sits on that belief window is what we use to filter our decisions. And it's also what we use to filter our actions and behaviors. And oftentimes, what's been built up on our belief window, it could be, as a result of events from our younger years, events with the people, our parents, influenced by our peers. But we do form these beliefs, and whether we know it or not, they're sitting right there, and we are using them to filter them. And often, the beliefs we put out there, all of them are not true. In fact, some of them are limiting beliefs. They are things that are actually holding us back because they're just not true. I think this is a Mark Twain quote, but it's not the stuff we don't know that gets us in trouble. It's the stuff we know with certainty that just ain't so. So those are kind of what limiting beliefs are. Another frame, we're gonna stick with the term beliefs, but it might be helpful to broaden that a little bit. Self-image or identity is also a result of our beliefs. And self-image, to use some ideas from Lanny Basham's book, With Winning in Mind, it's a book on uh, mental management processes. We cannot consistently perform higher than our self-image of ourselves. So if we believe, if our self-image is that, well, I'm a really good employee, but I just don't have what it takes to move into a leadership position, if we have a belief, that self-image is going to hold us back, our identity. Ben Hardy calls that your frame or your perspective. So all those kind of mesh in and out, our self-image of ourself, our identity, but they all end up on this belief window. And that belief window is the filter. So um, another good, besides limiting beliefs, Michael Hyatt, founder of Full Focus, he has some great literature on limiting beliefs, but they also refer to upper limit problems, that are just an upper bound we've put on ourselves that we just can't break through. Our uh, our acceptance of where we're at in life. Well, this is as good as it gets. That would be an upper limit problem. So anyway, those are the things. And now that we've kind of shared that, so how do we get beyond that? How do we take those limiting beliefs? First of all, recognize them, that, hey, this is a belief that's sitting there on my window. I am using it to filter decisions, actions, behaviors. What can and what do I want to do about it? Well, one question, so I'm going to propose maybe 3 questions that I've found helpful to work through that. And one of them was used by Hiram Smith when he worked with youth that were struggling with substance abuse problems. And he'd teach them the belief window. And then the question went something like this: will the results of this behavior benefit my needs over time? So will the results of this behavior benefit my needs over time? So whether that's substance abuse or a behavior that you know you want to exercise, but you just don't move it up on your priority, or you have this limiting belief, I'd love to, but where I'm at right now, I don't have the time. There is no such thing as I don't have the time. What we're really saying is other things have a higher priority than that thing. And we really don't do it talking to each other because it's not okay to say, Polly, I value other priorities more than meeting with you this morning. It's much easier to say, Polly, I just don't have the time. Um, so that's one of them. Well, the results of adhering to this limiting belief and not challenging, not getting underneath it, not trying to flip the belief and challenge it, whether it's true or not, what might I do to change it, benefit my needs over time. Another one is I'm curious about the story I might be telling myself that is putting this belief on my belief window. What's the story I'm telling myself? And is that story true? And then finally, after considering those two, a flip of that is think of the opposite. I don't have time. Well, what if I did have the time? Think of the opposite. Um, I don't have the skills to move into a leadership position. The next question is, what would need to be true for me to develop the skills to move into that leadership position? What would need to be true for me to be able to create space in my day for 30 minutes of exercise, whether that's stretching, walking, running, whatever it might be, but just start with small steps. So those are the three questions. I'll repeat them again. Will the results of this behavior benefit my needs over time? Um, what's the story I'm telling myself? And is that story true? What might I do to change the story? And then finally, if you think through the opposite of that limiting belief, what would need to be true for me to experience the opposite of that limiting belief? And I planted the seed, use the example, I don't have the skills or opportunities to move into a leadership position. Well, let's pause. What would need to be true for me to develop the skills and create the opportunities to move into a leadership position? So that's what we'd like to explore today. This idea of limiting beliefs, our self-image, what's holding us back. Examine with maybe those three questions, what might be true, and see what we come up with. Just take the first minute of our reflection time and just list two or three limiting beliefs, beliefs that you think might be holding you back. Pick one, and then run it through those three questions. Will clinging to this limiting belief benefit my needs over time? What's the story I'm telling myself? Is it true? And then finally, what would need to be true to experience the opposite of that? Because I've just found that belief window is so powerful. And we do have the power. Once it's up there, it takes effort to replace it with the liberating truth instead of a limiting belief. So, Polly, I'm curious, what did anything there, and what resonated with you? What stood out? What did you find interesting? Uh, I'd love to hear your point of view on that reflection.
I just would like to go even more deeper into this because we all have limiting beliefs. And there are some which are so encrusted and deep.
That's great, Polly. You'd
Yeah.
love to go deeper. Tell me more.
Yeah, because limiting beliefs is not just about making resolutions, about, yes, I'm gonna quit smoking. Because these, I believe, people end up getting to a habit of doing. I will go more often to the gym. But when I think of limiting beliefs, are the ones that haven't been passed on generations and generations and generations. Like, I heard a story these days, I guess. last week. It was very interesting. A girl is cooking and she gets the sausage links into the pan, and she cuts the edges of it. And then the daughter of this lady or the friend was, so why do you cut the edges of the sausage link? And she's like, I don't know, I just cut it. My mom used to do that. And when she asks the mom says, oh, my mom used to do that. And the grandmother says, well, your great grandmother used to do that. And because they are still in generations and they are all alive, when they get to the great grandmother, she says, well, I used just to cut that because it
I
wouldn't
had an
fit
eating.
the pot.
Yeah.
And it's like you just pass it on, and you
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah. She
embody
cut
it
them
without
off.
even, yeah,
Yeah. That she had an 8-inch pan, and so she cut the
probably.
two ends of the ham off. And
Yeah,
that
something like
belief
that.
went down generations without being
Exactly.
examined. And so
Exactly. So when I think of limiting beliefs, are the ones that are within us without we even acknowledging them. Just like when you said in the beginning, why do I not go beyond um, in my leadership role in a company work? Probably because you want to honor your parents and they didn't really go beyond, and you want to be at the same level
could
they
be
were without even thinking, without even
there's
bringing
some
to awareness.
there's some belief on that belief window. And
Yeah.
that's the point of today is let's examine what's sitting there on this window, because you can actually reverse engineer it. If you look at your actions, behaviors, habits,
Mm-hmm.
and then say what belief is sitting there that that provides for me to be doing, making that, I'm not even going to apply for that job because I don't have the skills. That there's something sitting on that belief
Yes.
window. So you
Yes.
can reverse engineer it by just being more curious. Well, okay, wait a minute. My instinct is to not apply for that job. What's sitting here on my belief window uh, that's causing me to acting as a filter for that decision? And what would need to be true for me to be excited about applying for that job?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we think of these limiting beliefs, it is, you might be able to work them all by yourself, but it's much better, and you might go farther if you do have the help of a coach, of a mentor, of a therapist to really break a cycle and move forward.
Yes, and really,
But
really help you examine the stories you're telling yourself.
exactly,
Examine what's
exactly.
on that belief window. And the therapist might spend a little more time. Well, what, like you use the pot example with the cooking. Well, what in your past and your family history in the past maybe anchored that belief on your window that it's fair to, and get you comfortable. It's okay to challenge what's on my belief window. I
Mm-hmm.
can break the pattern.
Yes, yes. And you see the past with the therapist, and when you were with the coach, you were right in the moment, and you were moving forward. So it's not just about one or the other. It's a whole, what is a holistic work and approach. It's you acknowledging that you have that window sitting in front of you, and it's you acknowledging that there are some things you were stronger when you have somebody else supporting you.
Yeah, it's my box. It's
Yeah.
my belief window, my box. I can choose to put things into my toy box and I can choose to remove them. And that's liberating. And that's why I'm fascinated by self-image, identity, frame, belief window, because it was very late in life when I even started thinking about what might be residing on my belief window.
Mm.
And we can just go through life never looking
Without
at
even,
that.
exactly.
And our behaviors and actions are filtered by what's sitting there. And are those behaviors and actions going to benefit our needs over time? And in many cases, not all, and not even more than half, but there are beliefs up there that continue to cling to that belief. It could be it's going to continue to impair your relation. I mean, I use myself as an example. 38 years in public accounting, working on technical skills, and very, very little time working on social skills, self-awareness, self-regulation. It's had an impact on me, which I'm doing
Yes.
what you and I are talking about now. I'm challenging my belief windows and changing behaviors, actions, and patterns to what? There's people?
Right? Not only numbers.
Yeah. So you
And I'm the
you
opposite. It's
can
like, oh,
change.
I need to deal with the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So true. But as we were saying, it's your window, you choose. And how do you choose to work with your own window?
Yeah. And then really then this limiting belief, hey, what upper limit problems, what limiting beliefs, what's out there? Just reverse engineer some of your decisions. What was sitting on my belief window that led me to that path? Is that true? What would need to be true for me to make a different decision? To apply for that job, to go get the skills you need, even applying for the job with the right. I mean, started a public accounting career because someone told me the truth when I was interviewing. Motivated with that truth, I studied 3 hours a night every night for 7 months to pass the CPA exam because I had a lot of academic distractions. And so my grades were not strong, and there were thousands of accountants at that time. But he said, Steve, you're a personable young man. If you can pass the test, I can't get you a job, but I can get you an interview with one of our operating offices. Had he not challenged that belief and told me my pathway, well, I enjoyed 43 years in a wonderful profession with a lot of great people just because of him helping me. That's your coaching example.
Yeah, the coaching, the mentor. Sometimes we don't even know these people are put in front of us at the time they are there because we need, but it's once again on us
Yeah.
to really observe and see, yeah, something's happening here. There is a question that is being asked, and I can do something about it.
Polly, what question would you like our listeners to explore?
If today, or if your life is aligned with your dreams, not even thinking of today, but if your life is aligned with your dreams, what will unfold? And you are removing the limiting beliefs. You are transforming them. And what are the actions you can take?
Yeah.
Or one small step you can take to achieve, to start.
Yeah. In Michael Hyatt's language, which I really love, is he says, here's the limiting belief, and he flips it to how do you turn that into and I love your quote you just shared, a liberating truth. When you flip it, now it's liberating. Well, I wasn't going to apply for that promotion, but I flipped it. What needs to be true? And wow, that's a liberating truth. Now I can move forward. And I like your question too, because it ties into that other one. Will this benefit my needs over time? And certainly a life is an overtime process.
Exactly.
It doesn't
it's not
happen
just
in a
thinking
day,
of the
an
today.
hour, a minute.
It is one day at a time, one moment at a time. But see the bigger picture. It's your life. So if your life is aligned with your dreams, putting aside your limiting beliefs, transforming them, what will unfold for you? Imagine that.
Yes.
We will hold that question.
Okay. Thank you, Polly. And this has been Questions and Conversations on Leadership and Life. And I'm Steve.
And I'm Polly. And I'm laughing because the last time Steve said he was Polly.
And she didn't edit it either. She left it in there.
I did not, because that was
I heard
just
that.
fun.
That was good. Well, thank you for listening, and make it a great day.
Thank you, Steve. See you. Make it a great day. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment. We would love to hear your reflections. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep leading with intention.